All right, yeah.
All right, welcome to a special, should we call it breaking news edition of 24th Floor. Yeah, we got some major news we want to talk about. And since you were predicting it, Richard Denson, I'm going to let you break it.
You got to give me my flowers. This just in, the Memphis Grizzlies have traded Jaren Jackson Jr. Triple J is no more. He's headed to Utah in a 7-player deal. Can we pull up the trade? I just made a full screen of it. It is a blockbuster trade. The NBA trade deadline comes in less than 48 hours on Thursday, and the Grizzlies are a part of the trade deadline to Utah.
Yeah, so let's talk about what the players are fine or whatever, right? You're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, what is it, 8-player swap?
Seven players overall.
So you're talking about the numbers game is fine, but what you're really needing to talk about is the future first round draft picks.
Yes,
that's where I think the biggest part of all this comes, is that the first round draft picks that the Grizzlies are going to get.
Yes. So now, what I just looked up came in from Bobby Marks with ESPN. The Grizzlies now have 13 first round picks in the next 7 years. The reason why that is key, that is the most in the NBA.
That's also trade capital.
Yes.
Right? So when you have that many first-round draft picks, you can use those to help trade for other players.
And now they've created space, which I know that's what we talk about, the money and the finances. This trade has created a $28.8 million trade exception. So to put it in layman's terms, now the Grizzlies have space to absorb a big contract. Now they have cap room, and that is the largest ever in NBA history.
Well, let's also talk about what it could potentially do, which is open the door for another big name to be traded.
And I know what you're getting at with this one. So potentially now that Jaren is off the board, could Ja Morant be next? And so that the thing with that is now the Grizzlies, what I've said on this program, I don't believe that Ja Morant will get traded because the Grizzlies will want something for him. Well, now they got it all with Jaren and Bane. Now they could just really get rid of Ja just to get rid of Ja. Will that happen? We still don't know. We still got 2 days before the trade deadline is over. But now it's looking more like it could be in a fire sale mode, Ruben.
We talked about this off camera yesterday where we said if they go into fire sale mode, that means total reset, right?
Yes.
Total reset. And once you've gotten rid of Desmond Bane, now you've gotten rid of Jaren Jackson Jr. You could potentially be getting rid of Ja Morant as well.
And you could still get rid of Santi Aldama.
And you could get rid of Santi as well. That's about you can't hit reset any harder than that for a franchise.
And we also talked about it, what I have been preaching on this program. If you are going to go into reset mode, this is the draft to start.
Yeah, it's so much young talent.
And now the Grizzlies are now looking at, with this Jaren Jackson trade that they got from Utah, now that's potentially 3 first-round picks in this draft because they got their own. They got the Magic. Now I got to get the full details on the first-round pick from Utah if it is this year. But talking about 3 first-round picks in this draft, I don't know, Ruben, did you watch that BYU-Kansas game this past Saturday?
I did watch the BYU-Kansas game, and now there are some questions about old boy from Kansas.
Yeah, Darren Peterson.
About his longevity and his desire to play because he sits a lot.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Kyrie Irving at Duke.
Sits a lot, so you not that same passion to be on the floor all the time. So it does have some people kind of questioning what that means.
Load management in college.
But that's
crazy.
Looking forward. Right now, what does that mean for the Grizzlies? Right now is the real question I think most people have is you're losing one of your most now consistent scorers. Jaren did not start the season well, but has been consistent.
You're losing a pillar of the community in a way. I mean, Jaren drafted by the Grizz. He
always had a smile on his face.
Yeah, he had basically become a big part of this community. And of course, we're going to talk about the semantics of the trade itself. But Jaren, what he has meant to this city, meant to this team. I mean, the Grizzlies haven't had an all-star big man before that. And, they had Marc Gasol and Zach Randolph. Jaren came in and filled that role. He was an all-star last season. He was a former defensive player of the year. So the Grizzlies, we have to understand that this is still indeed a big trade, just in more ways than one, And so obviously you feel for the person as an individual because he put a lot into this city.
Yeah.
But as we always said,
it's a business, bro.
This is a business.
Yeah.
And Jaren Jackson Jr., a guy, I know it had grown frustration with him because it seemed like he took a step back, like you said, from last year, coming off that All-Star season. When you look at his numbers, the guy isn't even averaging 7 rebounds a game.
Well, so yes, but there are there's a lot of factors that go into
and the contract,
the bad rebounding, the rebounding issues with the Grizzlies and some teams in general. The contract is one issue.
Yeah.
What I'm thinking about, though, if you're a Grizzlies fan, is who you cheering for? Who's left to cheer for right now?
And that's exactly why another reason why I was hesitant about trading Ja, because I think because of Ja's personality, you can get away, I'm going to go to a Grizzlies game and I'm going to still see Ja Morant, I'm going to see the jaw droppers. Jaren Jackson just does all the nitty-gritty, the muscle work, but he's not a big highlight type of guy. So now if Jaren is off the board, if Ja gets traded, there ain't really nobody there, you know what I'm saying?
But
I like what Cedric Coward can be, but he's still years away from being that type of guy. So I don't know, man.
Well, I think you got to, from a business standpoint, are you banking on, is the question now, are we tanking the season?
Essentially. I mean, the Grizzlies are 19-29 as we're recording this.
So taking the season and then planning for the future. So basically telling your fans, hey,
we're punting on the season.
We're punting. Yeah, we're punting and we're going to get some new, young, fresh talent for you to get excited about. I personally think this opens the door for Ja to be traded.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, now, and I know I've been on the Ja won't get traded, but after seeing this deal, I always did say if you are going to trade somebody, you should trade Jaren because you'll get a lot for him. And we see they got 3 first-round picks. And let's not act like they got some good young guys. If we can pull back up the graphic real quick, they got Walter Clayton Jr. from Florida. He was balling. He helped lead Florida to a national championship. Obviously, you're bringing back Kyle Anderson, so we know what he brings. Yeah. Taylor Hendricks, he's a nice young guy. George Niang, he's a deaf piece. I watched him play for my Atlanta Hawks last year.
But none of those guys, none of those other guys are going to be star
me,
power.
Walter Clayton is almost like an additional first-round pick because he was this year's first-round pick.
Yeah. So.
Again. And so I like the young nucleus that you can have there. I mean, you look for, obviously, you still will hope that you get your
Does
guy.
this remind you, or does this feel like the beginning of what the Thunder did a few years back?
I was just about to bring that up.
That's what it looks like to me. It looks like
Or like what the Spurs did.
Yes, like the reset. We're going straight young.
The Thunder, the Spurs, the Rockets.
We're going to rebuild behind the youth and give people new stars to cheer for. Because SGA was really virtually unknown for a little bit there.
Yeah, I mean, and they got him through a trade with the Clippers, but they still built and getting Chet.
Yeah.
Getting Jalen Williams. So
I wasn't a big Chet fan because I just thought he wasn't very physical.
But hey, I mean, look at what they've been able to do, just kind of building it from the ground up. So I want Grizzlies fans, I know they're probably going to hit the panic button and get disinterested. And I want to steal something that was said in Philly. You have to trust the process. The Grizzlies have shown that they can draft well. I mean, that's how we got Jaren. That's how we got Ja Morant. We didn't have to buy them or trade for them.
It's so
Zach Edey's hit.
It's
Cedric Coward is
similar to the Thunder. When I worked in Tulsa, the Thunder had James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Russell Westbrook. 3 stars that they had drafted and brought in, and they were creating and building behind. Then they all left.
But see, what was the thing with those 3 guys? With those 3 guys, Kevin Durant didn't get traded. He left on his own as a free agent. James Harden, they traded him for Kevin Martin and
He was
Jeremy
wanting
Lamb.
to leave. Yeah, he was begging to leave.
Russell Westbrook, they traded for Chris Paul. So the Thunder really had to get it out the mud for real. They didn't get any first-round picks and bottom out. The Grizzlies, that's why you strike now, because the Grizzlies can bottom out and they got first-round picks coming from other teams.
And when he says bottom out, what he basically means is reset. Start over. You're getting rid of all your high-priced stars. You're going to start fresh with some new young talent and give your fan base something new to cheer about. Because to be honest with you, with a 19-29 record, there hasn't been a lot to cheer about all the time. The Grizzlies have maintained leads and then lost late in the game?
Yeah, probably. I think there's a stat that I saw that the Grizzlies are in top 5 for most blown leads this season in the second half.
That's as frustrating as anything.
And to me, that's why I've said that Isolo may not last this season either. If I'm personally, I would give Tomas Isolo another year because of the injuries he's dealt with. But if you're looking at the fan frustration of a lot of times the Grizzlies are in these games and have them won and they're blowing it. Look at in fact, the Thunder, we bring them up. Every time the Grizzlies play the Thunder, they have them beat and then they blow the lead.
Yeah, so as somebody who coaches a lot of basketball, I can tell you can draw up the perfect play in the world. The players still have to execute it.
But the coach is the fall guy.
The players still have to do their job. But in a situation like what the Grizzlies have been in, they haven't necessarily had everybody on the same page all the time.
They haven't.
And because of that, with this being Isolo's first year, I do think it gives him the grace of being able to say, let's clean the slate, which is basically what you're seeing happen right now. The first-year head coach is coming in and saying, let's clean the slate. Let's start fresh with new talent, and let's see, I'll show you what I can do. How can I show you what I can do when I've got all these other pieces that I didn't necessarily want or need or don't fit what the system is we're putting in place? That's where the Grizzlies are right now, and that's why I think Ja Morant is next on the block.
We'll see, man. I think
you've been right that there is a very strong chance that it will be after season.
I think the best deal, before this deal was made, I thought the best thing for Ja Morant is to wait till the season. Now seeing this deal and him going to Utah, they could just salary dump Ja. That's really what it could be.
That's what it's going to end up being. If they can't,
you'll end up trading him for a bunch of picks.
And so the reality is that
second round picks. That's what I mean.
So these GMs and these directors are talking all the time. Like, let's not pretend like they aren't already having backdoor conversations where they're talking about what they could potentially get. The Grizzlies have a good idea of what they can potentially get for Ja right now.
Yeah.
They may not be saying it. Nobody else is saying it out loud, but nobody's, walking into a room blind. There's already been conversations. So my guess is they're either waiting for somebody to come through officially with what they're willing to give, or so they can salary dump him, or they're going to wait till the end of the season and decide how to execute.
And a big thing that we should all pay attention to is the Ja Morant thing will kind of rely a lot on what happens with Giannis. Because now everybody's prepping for their big offer for Giannis. Utah knew they wasn't getting Giannis. So they was like, you know what, we'll go ahead and get there. We ain't getting Giannis. He don't want to come here. But teams like Miami, teams like Houston, teams like Golden State, teams like Minnesota, they're making plays to try to get Giannis. And if they strike out, or if Milwaukee is like, okay, well, we'll just table it to the offseason.
Next on the board?
Ja Morant, you know what I'm saying? And now you get into the point where we're getting close to, once we get into March, you know what I'm saying, and the rest of February is maybe 20 games? Mm-hmm. Now you got to kind of know everything's up for the grab. Going into the season, I said it was OKC's to lose, but now OKC seems like they can be beat. And if you're out there in the West, this is what I've always said, is Ja Morant the missing piece to get over the hump?
I think it's hard to tell right now because I don't know that people are getting the best version of Ja Morant here in Memphis right now. I mean, I just don't know if they are.
But it is to be seen. When Ja Morant is healthy, he's still Ja Morant.
That's what I'm saying.
So look at his previous games, that game against my Atlanta Hawks, he went off. He had a great game in that one.
But let's just not talk about physical health. Let's talk about mental and comfort level. If Ja does get moved to somewhere else where he feels more at home, feels more locked in, maybe more appreciated, whatever it is that he isn't feeling right now, whatever it might be, you might get a Ja Morant that we haven't seen in a while that you could say that guy could lead you to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I think people don't give that option enough credit. They think, well, the Ja that I see, is that Ja good enough to get me there? Well, I don't know that that's the Ja you're going to see.
I think it's kind of a catch-22 with that because Ja Morant, he won't have what he has here anyplace else. It's the same thing that you saw all those years ago with Bradley Beal in Washington. Bradley Beal was scoring 30 a night in Washington. He was the man. Everything was centered around him. Then he went to Phoenix. He's not the man. Then he went to Clippers. He's definitely not the man. So Ja Morant, it just depends. For me, what does he care the most about? And I used to think that every player cares about winning a championship.
Bruh.
If Ja Morant is about, I want to be an NBA champion, then yes, I need a new change of scenery. But he's not going to get what he has here someplace else. And I think he's kind of maybe in his, I don't want to say in his feelings because I don't want to put it like that, but he maybe feels some type of way because everything hasn't been catered around him, but that's because he's not healthy.
Yeah, but what
you
I'm
can
saying,
run the show when you're healthy.
But what I'm saying, but in this system, does he really get to run the show like that, or does he have to
No,
individually
because that's just the
take it
style
off?
that Isolo is.
So
he runs that European style.
But that's my point. You go somewhere where a style that is different, that is more on that loose side, then maybe Ja is Ja like he needs to be.
We'll see.
I just think there's that opportunity. Now, we're all going to know here in the next day or two if that's even a possibility.
Ooh, man. You look at them FedEx Forum, spend some empty seats, it's going to be a whole lot more. Jaren, ain't no ticket giveaway going to save you. Ain't no ticket giveaway will save you.
At this point, you're really just, again, you're punting on the season and banking on getting, one of those top draft picks in the first round that you can then build around. I think Cedric Howard is a great young player, but he also,
great building block.
He also wasn't a big name star that you were like, oh my gosh, we got Cedric Howard.
Thing, I'm glad you brought that up, because Cedric Howard had an opportunity where he could have went to Duke. He was going to transfer to Duke from Washington State coming off that injury, but he got some good intel, and I know we've talked about it on Football with Trinidad Chambers. He got some good intel. It's like, you know what? I'm going to test the draft. And he got drafted, and now you see the potential. But Cedric Howard, if he would have stayed in college, maybe he would have been in that same conversation with Peterson and AJ coming out of a Duke.
Yes.
Because, Duke, their star guy, Cam Boozer, another person who Grizzlies fans should be on the lookout for. I know we talk a lot about AJ DeBonsa and Darren Peterson. Those were the two fellas who played this past Saturday. Yes, Cam Boozer, and he has that lineage with his dad being Carlos Boozer. He's going to be good.
So, but yes, to your point, Cedric Howard could have been one of those names in this upcoming draft that you're saying we got to get that kid.
Yeah.
But that wasn't what it was when you got him. So
you kind of got him at a steal.
Yeah, you definitely. But it was one of those deals where I would say most Grizzlies fans didn't know what they were getting.
Exactly.
They were just like, all right, well, we got this guy and everybody thinks he's going to be good. This year will be different.
Yes.
This year, one of those big names that gets drafted will be a name that you're saying as a Grizzlies fan, we just got a future star.
Grizzlies fans, get ready to learn Rock Chalk Jayhawks. I hope you're watching a lot of Kansas Jayhawks. I hope you're watching a lot of BYU. Watch a lot of college basketball. Of course, watch the Memphis Tigers, watch the Ole Miss Rebels, especially right here on ABC 24. But also, watch college basketball, because it is a lot of good guys. If I'm a Grizzlies fan, I'm always reading mock drafts. I'm always doing that little tankathon simulator or whatever, because you will possibly see the future of the Grizzlies in this draft class, the future star.
So I know we don't want to take all day on this one, but we wanted to come in and get you caught up on what was happening. Let's summarize kind of what we're talking about and what that means for the Grizzlies right now. Jaren Jackson Jr. has been traded
to the Utah Jazz.
Gone. He's headed to Salt Lake City. Now, you see the players on your screen that were swapped, but the biggest point of all this is the future first-round draft picks.
Yes, 3 future first-round picks. We are working to see when those picks will land. We will obviously get you caught up on that information in our newscast and in the coming days. But yes, 3 future first-round picks are coming to the Grizz. They now have 13 over the next 7 years, and they now have $28.8 million in a trade exception, which means that is the space. That means, to put it in layman's terms, think of a star that like James Harden, look at LeBron, like anybody. The Grizzlies, they could be traded to the Grizzlies, and the Grizzlies now have space. They also technically have space to pay Ja Morant an extension, but that's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? But that is the big takeaway for this. The Grizzlies and their future first-round picks. So the 13 picks you have, you can build a whole new team out of that.
So real quick before we get out of here, do you think this was a good trade by the Grizzlies?
Yes. Okay. If you've been watching us on this program, you know that I've always said if the Grizzlies are going to go that rebuild route, Jaren is the one to do. But the crazy thing is, Desmond Bane went for 4 picks, and he hasn't been an all-star. He hasn't won anything, no accolades.
It's all timing, bro.
Jaren got traded for 3. Desmond went for 4. Jaren is an all-star, a defensive player of the year.
Timing.
But nevertheless, they got multiple first-round picks, which is what I said was going to happen.
So give Denson his credit.
Finally, he's giving me my props.
I've been saying from the jump, I thought Ja was going to get traded this year, right? And he's been saying it's not going to happen. Eventually, he said, okay, you might be right, it might happen. He's been saying all along that Jaren's going to get traded too. If Ja gets traded or not, Jaren was going to get traded too. I've been saying, we'll see.
And we always thought that it would flip. Like, it'd be Ja first, then Jaren. Now it could be the other way around.
Either way, you were right. And
Thank
so
you.
you've been saying it for a while, and if people weren't listening, you were saying it for a while that this was something that you thought should or could happen because it would put the Grizzlies in a better position if they were planning to rebuild. That's the key.
Yes.
If they were planning to rebuild. It looks like now we are in rebuild mode.
Yep, and now it's about to be the Zach Edey show. When he comes back, you the man now, Zach. It is your team. You run that front court.
All right, we're going to keep you updated as more information becomes available on this blockbuster trade that changes the scene of Memphis Grizzlies basketball for sure. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. I'm Ruben Diaz.
And I'm Richard Denson. We'll see you next time.
Continue with us and watch free now on the 24 Plus app everywhere you stream.